Oh yeah.
I'm back.
Celebrate good times, come on!
Let's go! Let's go! Woo!
I'm back, everybody. How are you doing? Oh man, it's been too long. I miss talking to you guys so much through these videos. Oh man, now I finally have something good to talk about. If you see my last video, you know I was dealing with a lot of stuff. Now I'm starting to get settled into my new job. I finally found something that I really want to talk about. 2 game trailers that have been released at the Sony E3 conference not too long ago. 2 games that I'm extremely excited for. So without further ado, let's get into this. Right off the bat, I am not the biggest video game nerd. I'm more of a movie person than I am a game person, but I have played my fair share of video games, and they vary from superhero to action to war and sports games and so on. One of them, of course, being Spider-Man. And the Spider-Man 2 video game is probably one of the best superhero games that I have ever played in my life. And to this day, it's hard not to get lost in the big scope of the city of New York with the world and the swinging. Oh my god, I could talk about that for days. And if you saw my Spider-Man 2 review from about a year or so ago, when it came out at the same time as the movie, probably the best Spider-Man experience I've ever had in my life, and nothing else is ever going to come close to that. So I've been waiting for a really great Spider-Man game for quite a long time, and we've had some along the way. The Spider-Man 3 video game, it was fun. It had more or less the same stuff. It still had a decent story. It still had some cool missions you can do, and the storyline wasn't that bad in comparison to the Spider-Man 3 movie storyline, but anyway. Then there was the Edge of Time video game, the Shattered Dimensions game, which I actually quite liked personally, seeing the other different versions of Spider-Man. And then there was the Amazing Spider-Man video game, which I wasn't that really fond of. It just didn't really stick with me personally. But when they announced a PS4 version of Spider-Man, a brand new version, a more experienced Spider-Man, I thought, alright, let's see what this is like. And then the trailers came out and the pictures, holy crap. This looks awesome. And the recent gameplay trailer that they just showed, the gameplay in here looks amazing. And I'm sure other people are saying this, but with the way he dodges attacks and how he flips over, it actually reminded me of the Batman Arkham games. And I could easily see this game maybe being the start of a new series for Spider-Man, a series of video games similar to what the Batman Arkham games were for Batman. Like it's an actual legit interpretation of the character. And I like the idea of seeing a more experienced Spider-Man. And they do mention in the trailer that he's been around for about 10 years or so. Every criminal that I've locked up in the last 8 years is now on the loose. And it shows that they go into this prison called the Raft. And if there's any comic book nerds out there, you'll probably tell me what that is. But from what I understand, it's probably the biggest prison in the Marvel Universe. That's probably the best way to put it. It's really cool seeing Electro, Scorpion, the Rhino, and the Vulture. And the air combat that you have against the Vulture and the Electro. Holy crap. Definitely reminded me of the early Spider-Man games, like the Spider-Man 1 and 2 video games, but a lot more up to date because, you know, being over 15 years later, you obviously can do a lot more now with gameplay, and you might actually have a good story to it as well. Games can be more than just art, as I'm sure other people have said. And I don't know if people are complaining about that, but I do like the idea that he's recruited somebody to help him out on his certain missions and whatnot, because he's had partners once or twice before with Black Cat, and he's partnered up with other superheroes over the years, like the Avengers, so he doesn't always like to work alone. And I really like the moment at the end where he nearly gets beaten to a pulp by these villains. It makes you feel like, oh my god, is he gonna get out of this? And then somebody shows up and he looks shocked like,
Wait, you?
and then it cuts, and then you see the title. You don't see who it is, you don't hear a voice, you hear some kind of robotic sound. Now naturally, you want to speculate on who it is. It might not even be him by the time the game comes out, but my money is on the Green Goblin. Odds are, if this is a more experienced Spider-Man, he's had to have had some confrontations with the Green Goblin at least once before. Granted, I haven't really followed up on the storyline of what's come out on this game. I'm trying to stay away from it as best as I can, but I can easily see the Green Goblin having a presence of some kind in this game. If not, it might be Doc Ock. If it is Doc Ock, I wouldn't hate that necessarily. Either way, Spider-Man knows who this guy is. Obviously, there's some history between the two, so either way, we're going to find out who it is when it comes out in September, if that's when it's coming out. I'm excited. I already pre-ordered my copy. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And you can tell by my Spider-Man shirt, I'm more than excited. And there's one more thing we should talk about. Just wait a second. Oh, wow, what do you know? A Last of Us shirt. There was so much speculation that E3 was going to show some footage of The Last of Us Part 2 ever since that trailer came out in 2016. And then we had another one from last year of 2017 in November with completely different characters who we have no idea what their story is. Still no release date though for this game. Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann, You're making me claw my eyes out over this. I know they want to take their time. I get it. They want to make sure that it's the best game that they can, but still. I just want some kind of an idea of when this game's coming out so I can pre-order the damn thing. I'm sorry. But in any case, not only is this gameplay footage, we actually see cinematic footage of Ellie at age 19, if I'm not mistaken. She's having a conversation with this guy, I can't remember the guy's name, about going on patrol, and your old man is on my case again about my patrol. Obviously, he's talking about Joel. We don't see Joel in this trailer at all. There's not a whole lot of story stuff that they give away in this trailer, which I'm glad that they didn't, because it still makes you wonder, what's going on? There's obviously some people are after Ellie. And the biggest thing to take away from this, not just how great the game looks and sounds, Ellie is a lot more capable than she was in the previous one, because when we first met her she was 14, and supposedly it takes place about 5 years later or so. She's about 19, 20 years old. She's had some experience killing people, and after all that stuff that happened in the previous game, and if you played the DLC Left Behind, all that stuff makes her a lot more hardened than she already was before. She's dancing with someone, I can't remember her name. My guess is she's probably played by that actress Shannon Woodward, who was announced to play a character in this game, and they have a little romantic moment together, which I'm sure people are going to be complaining about. Stop shoving diversity in our faces! I don't know if people are complaining about that. If you're going to tell me that I'm just a typical liberal, you can go right ahead. I don't care anymore. But anyway, I don't care if she's gay or not. All I want is a really good character. That's all I really care about. If she's gay, that's fine. I don't care. All I look for is what's in here and what's in here. But then, as they're kissing, it transitions into this scene where you actually see gameplay footage of Ellie killing these bandits or whatever in this forest in the middle of the rain. I don't know who these people are, but obviously they are not friendly. And the thing that really struck me, not just the look of the whole thing, it definitely feels very reminiscent of The Last of Us. It actually reminded me a lot of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. It's a lot more fluid, there's so much more attention to detail, especially at one point when Ellie has this thing planted in her shoulder, and she pulls it out. The way she pulls it out... I thought, oh my god, that looks so real. It's one of those things where it makes you forget, oh wait, that's a video game cutscene. Wow. And also, you get to go prone. You get to go prone and crawl on your belly. I'm really glad that they made that happen, because all you were able to do in the first one is crouch, and I thought, you know, it would be nice if they made us go prone once in a while. That way you can crawl under certain really low areas. And now that they're finally making us do that, I go, great. Awesome. And another thing to take away from these group of people is these whistles that they blow.
Spread out.
You hear that whistle, duck and cover. Just like when you hear the sound of a clicker, you hush up and you get down. No infected in this trailer though. Well, probably because you already know what to expect with the infected, but still doesn't make it any less scary. And as you'd expect, there's violence, there's blood, and guts. Well, maybe not so much guts, but there is violent stuff. And if you're very sensitive to violence, I am going to show you one or two moments, but this moment... Oh, God. Well, I never want to touch a hammer ever again, and I don't want anyone using a hammer around me. Oh, and this guy with his pickaxe or whatever. Oh, boy. And the character that Ellie is hanging around with at the end of the trailer, she's pretty much right.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, I would not want to be on the receiving end of Ellie's rage. That's for damn sure. Sorry. All in all, I'm excited for Last of Us 2, but I really wish they would have announced a release date. Come on, Neil Druckmann! Oh well. Those are my thoughts on the PS4 Spider-Man game and The Last of Us Part 2. Comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are. I'm really glad to be back again with you guys. Oh, it's great to be back. I will see you all next time.